So it's come to this, hasn't it? We meet again, you old bitch. Man, it is weird. It is weird to be facing the Toronto Maple Leafs again in the first round. Although, let's be real. The script writers were working overtime on this one, making sure we got both the Battle of Florida and Bruins versus Leafs round 4, or at least round 4 within my lifetime. Welcome back down into the den, everybody. I know you guys were waiting on that on the hype video. I promise you, I've been working pretty much all day on it. I will have it done by game 2. I promise. I'm not going to break that promise this time. I'm sorry. I know I promised it today. The past few days have been incredibly stressful with getting actual schoolwork done, because I'm in my last semester here. It's kind of hard to believe. This series started around that way, over there, all the way across the building, on this floor 3 years ago. Kind of hard to believe that, but I'm happy with the direction of this. I don't have any plans to stop doing Into the Den anytime soon, and secondly, I'm stalling, because I'll just be honest. I've been indulging a little bit on today on 420, because it is 420. Time to get high above the ice. So let's actually get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about Bruins versus Leafs. Let's be real. The Bruins, as an amassment of talent, do not have the upper hand in this one. We do not. Sorry. Let's be real. The Bruins, in terms of just pure talent, they might not have the upper hand, but the Bruins have been given a lifeline here. Which I can't believe that I'm saying that the team with the higher seed is being given a lifeline. That lifeline is the fact that William Nylander might not be ready for this. He might not be ready for this. He did not participate in morning skate today. It is still up in the air as to whether or not he is going to be playing at all. I expect to see him at some point this series. It's not like this is a surprise. It's not like this wasn't surprising that he wasn't at morning skate. It's kind of obvious that the Leafs kind of know there's something wrong, but it's hockey culture, and hockey culture states that if you can that I don't care how dinged up you are, if you can skate properly, you can get yourself on that fucking ice. It's playoffs time. Remember, Matthew Tkachuk played the majority of the Stanley Cup Finals on a broken sternum. And I know how well did that go for him. Well, let's also not forget that Bergeron in 13 and played the majority of the playoffs on a punctured lung. How'd that work out for him? Doesn't matter. The point is whenever you step into the playoffs, you are rolling your best guys, no matter what, unless they are dying. That is the only reason why they're ever allowed to take off. Now we can have a conversation as to whether or not that's the proper way to go about the playoffs. But that is a completely different video. Oh, what's the video right now? Something that I'm still stalling on. But in terms of your amassment of talent, the Bruins, like I said, not as top heavy as the Leafs, but maybe that's their strength, because it is every time the top 6 has failed to show up for the Bruins in this season, our depth scoring has come through heavily. And for what it's worth, the Leafs have had a similar time where if guys like Marner, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, those guys aren't producing, guys like Matthew Nyes, Nick Robertson, and especially Bobby McMann will come through in the clutch for them. Bobby McMann, and he almost I'm pretty sure he got waived at the beginning of the season. And now he's like legitimately a key contributor to their middle six. But there's one thing. There are two things that the Bruins have. There are two things that the Bruins have that the Leafs do not in this: adequate goaltending, and legitimate hunger. Now I know both teams come into this series with losing their last two games. The Leafs losing their last four, and the Bruins doing it against much lesser talent. The Bruins lost their last two against the Capitals, who are currently the wild card 2, and the Ottawa Senators, who are eliminated pretty much as soon as they realize that pretty much as soon as they realized they were the Ottawa Senators. Meanwhile, the Leafs, if their last two games, they lost against both the Panthers, who are the top seed, who are now the top seed in the East, and the Lightning, who are the wild card 1, pretty much, but just barely. There was only like 2 or 3 games between the Leafs and the Lightning. The Lightning are still good. But the difference. Obviously, the Bruins in that one had lesser talent. Had lesser teams that they were playing against, which essentially means that their last 2 games, their way of winning was making sure that everybody was healthy. And considering last year, when Bergeron got hurt in Game 82 because Montreal hates the concept of joy, the fact that we're starting Game 1 with the only major hitch in the plan that we haven't entirely solved being Justin Brazeau, that is perfectly fine. And the reason why I say Justin Brazeau is because after Luch lost his mind and JVR lost his lost his body, Brazeau was pretty much the guy that we could just park in the middle of the crease and just make everybody play around him. He was 6'5", 220. You can't really move that around too easily. And ever since he got injured, fuck you, Luke Shen, we haven't really had a guy who has that sort of net front presence. We are sincerely hoping that Pat Maroon can be that guy. Not only that he's healthy, but that he's far enough in recovery in his back surgery to be able to keep up that type of play. So that's all. That's where we are in terms of offense. In terms of defense, Bruins have this one. Bruins have this one pretty handily. Our top two pairs are easily some of the better ones in the league. Meanwhile, the Leafs pretty much it's weird with the Leafs because Sheldon Keefe can never make up his mind, and the thing that he always defaults to is one of the worst pairings that the Leafs have, that being TJ Brody and Morgan Riley. And I will say this: if you can catch Sheldon Keefe going back to that pairing, that is how you win this series. You win this series based off of coaching, and my God, you have guys like Steve Dangle, even saying that Montgomery deserves the Jack Adams much more in this season than he did in last season when he coached the Bruins to literally the best record in NHL history. And I know you guys are gonna say what happened with that. You cannot take away the fact that this team won 165 games last season. You can't. That will be forever enshrined in the history books. And I know you guys. And again, you guys are gonna say, how did that go? Not a single team that has had the best record in the regular season in their respective sports. It's made it won the in the four major North American sports it's made it to the won their championship. The Patriots 16-0 lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants. And basketball 73-9. The 73-9 and Warriors lost to the blew a 3-1 series lead to the Cavs. And the 116 win in Seattle Mariners of 2001 got bopped in the ALC. I think the ALCS, or it was either the ALDS or ALCS. It was like 1 or 2 years before I was born, so I don't freaking know. They got bopped in the playoffs by the Yankees because of course they did. And for the Bruins, I mean, we all know what happened. But that is part of how you're going to win this series, is because that might be the biggest trench of all is defensive matchups. Now, in terms of goaltending, we got this one in the bag, honestly. Ilya Samsonov is the Leafs' best goalie, and he is currently saving below 900. Now, yes, they have Joseph Woll and Martin Jones, who are both saving just above 900, but let's be real, are the Leafs really going to roll either of them in the playoffs? No, they're not. Let's be real, they're not. They're gonna roll Sammy, and he's gonna do piss all. Well, the Bruins, on the other hand, and one of the best tandems in the league, and in 4 games against the Leafs this year, which, by the way, let's actually talk about that. The 4 games between the Bruins and the Leafs this year. The Bruins won all 4 games. All 4 games. Needed overtime twice, but still, in the end, we came out of that. We came out of those 4 games with a perfect 4-0 record. And in addition to that, Bruins outscored the Leafs 14-7. Bruins only allowed 7 goals in 4 games against one of the highest powered offenses is in the league. I mean, shit. Matthews was 1 goal away from 70, and the only reason why he was playing in any of the last 2 games is to simply get him to 70, which we're gonna get into and how the Leafs carried themselves through the last bit of the season. Just after this, is Bruins also in terms of power play percentage. I know. Well, the special teams for the Bruins has been pretty lackluster. We've been giving up power play goals. And shorthand, like 3 or 4 shorthanded goals scored against us in the last little stretch of the season. That's disgusting. That is something that Marner is going to eat you alive on. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's Mitch Marner. Why would I be scared of him? Marner is good. Don't count out Marner just yet. Do not count out Marner just yet. He is one of the best defensive forwards in the league right now. I've even been saying that after Bergeron retires, which he did last season, which he did at the end of last season, And the Selkie competition is going to be consistently be a 3-horse race. Yes, between Nico Hischier from the Devils, Sasha Barkov from the Panthers, and Mitch Marner. And yeah, if you give Mitch an inch on the penalty kill, he will take a mile. Well, but in the 4 games between the Bruins and the Leafs, the Leafs power play percentage 9.7. The Bruins just over 30. Just over 30. The Leafs penalty kill turns into a pile of goop just as soon as they take a penalty. And in terms of goaltending, save percentage against the Bruins this season, Leafs 891. Bruins against the Leafs 949. It doesn't matter who we have in net. It really doesn't matter who we have in net, and the fact that Monty has been really ominous about it, not revealing a goddamn thing. Even freaking Leafs fans are not Leafs fans. Leafs players are commenting on it with Kyle Yarncroke basically just saying, "I do not care," which is fair for him. But it really doesn't matter who the Bruins have in net. I mean, honestly, I think that Ullmark should be game 1 starter. Ullmark should be game 1 starter. It's not really that he's insane. That he's much better than it's not really that he's much better than Swayman. Swayman and Ullmark have had a really similar and both have had really good seasons. It's really similarly good seasons. But it's more so that Ullmark has picked it up in the last month and a half, and Swayman has been he's been okay. He's been serviceable, but it hasn't been in the same bulldog as in the past. So that is why I would want Ullmark in net for the Bruins. But regardless, our goalie tandem is going to be much better than the Leafs. And now time to talk about the Leafs' last few games. The Leafs roll into this. Losing their last 4 games in regulation. I know I was talking about their last 2, but in terms of but this goes back to their last 4. And before that, they won 6 in a row. They did win 6 in a row. Thank you, Sinden Lions. But regardless, yes, Leafs have lost 4 in a row coming in here and have failed pretty much every single objective that they've had to come in here. They played Matthews for the last 2 games of the season specifically to get him to 70 goals. He did not. He could not get to 70. What is it? We try and for William Nylander. I know he's not playing tonight, but they trotted him out a lot to try and get him to 100 points for the first time in his career. He ended up putting up only 3 assists in the entire month of April, and hasn't scored a goal in 11 consecutive outings. You tried. They wanted Florida to try. They desperately wanted Florida. They needed to beat Florida. They lost to Florida, and I know we also lost to Ottawa, and that's why we're here right now. But regardless, the Bruins had a couple of objectives. One of which was pretty much to get Marchand his 400th goal, which I'm very, very happy that they did. It was that, and just roll into the playoffs healthy, And we did both. We did both of those. We did both of those. So I think honestly, you come into these playoffs, kind of feeling good, but also with something to prove. You also come in with something to prove, and you take this Nylander potentially being out for the first game, and you run with it. Especially because as I was looking through Twitter, I found out that Justin Brazeau was actually skating at morning practice today. Hey, so he could be coming back in this series, which means we might have the net front presence that you need in these playoffs to win. And you want to know how to win playoff games. It's not just through wheel, snipe, Sally. You also have to put in the grit. You have to have that interpersonal hunger. You have to have that drive that makes you throw a hit, even if it's completely out of character for you. You need to show that you want to feast on the other team. That you want to grind these Leafs into mulch. That's how you win. That's how you win. You need to show this hunger. And I really think that the Bruins are going to win in 6. I really think the Bruins are going to win in 6. Thanks. I know that a lot of people want it to be Bruins in 7. I think it's going to be Bruins in 6. And I would be so happy. It would be so funny for that to. It would honestly be so funny for that to happen. I'm perfectly fine with it going to 7 and the Bruins winning it, just so long as the Bruins just win it. Just win it. Don't let Toronto kill their demon. We need to. We have a few more souls to feed on before we give them even an inch. We need to take the lifetime series wins to. We need to take the lifetime series win in record, because currently the Bruins sit at 8-8 in playoff series against the Leafs. Now granted, the Bruins have won in all 6 series that the Leafs have played, in which they've played the Leafs since 1959. Yes, we have not lost a series to the Leafs since a decade before man landed on the moon. Wonderful. Don't start now. Do not start now. But what I want to start now is the playoffs. So, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys at the end. I'll see you guys tonight after the game. Take care.